Right now, we are in the middle of a pandemic of ungrateful children. We are in the middle of a generation spoiled rotten. Came from people who came up from the streets, came from people who got it, grew up their whole lives watching it, and for whatever reason, they're divorced from that. And I wanted to have an opportunity to speak on this tonight about accomplished fathers and ungrateful sons, and specifically the sons. It's especially sad because it's specifically the sons. First, going from right to left, first it was Kirk Franklin and his son damn near 40, talking about what he expects his father to give him. What he expects his father to just do for him. Grown ass man. Damn near middle age. Then you got 50 Cent. 50 Cent and his grown ass 26-year-old son talking about how he should want for nothing. That since his father has got it, that he should want for nothing. Not that he should have to get out here and prove himself. Not that he should have to prove that he is worthy of what the father has built. No, he's supposed to just get that just off rip. That's just supposed to be what he's going to get. And now, added to this sad parade, Master P's son, Lil Romeo, he's been out here talking and this and that. And without being able to get documentation to confirm or deny anything, I'm going to really just limit my comments to just saying, okay, let's just take it from the perspective that at least half of what he's saying may be accurate. Not really sure what half is not, although I have my own feelings about it based on certain things. But I want to tell you something right now. If you are a man chasing success, you got to be careful about this. If you're out here and you're trying to get it and you're trying to make a different name for your family, you got to understand in this day and age, you got to make your kids work. You sit up here and you think to yourself, you're going to take them and spare them of the difficulties that you had. Man, you better make them go through some things. You better make them figure out from an early age what you figured out from an early age, that ain't nobody going to give you nothing. Because you see, you can't say nobody's going to give you nothing and then you as the father turn right around and give them everything. You cannot say nobody's going to give you nothing, but you as the father turn around and then give them everything. You're contradicting yourself. You're speaking at cross purposes. You got to make sure they understand from an early age, whatever they get, they're going to have to work for it so that they see the value of it. Because otherwise they are going to come back later and they are going to be horribly entitled, and you should never say to yourself, well, I didn't do anything to them. Let me tell y'all something. Entitlement isn't a byproduct of you doing somebody wrong. Entitlement is the individual has become an exploiter. The individual is looking for somebody to exploit, and if you are foolish enough to tell yourself that your own children will not look to exploit you, you got another thing coming. I don't even have any biological children, and I understand this. Your kids will get over on you. Your kids will exploit you if you allow them. They'll be spoiled rotten. And they've never had a fight with anybody in the real damn world. See, Master P and 50 Cent and Kirk Franklin to a lesser degree, but certainly Master P and 50 Cent, these dudes came from the streets. They had folk trying to kill them. They had people trying to kill them. So they know what it's like to have a real beef, to have a real problem. Your kids, the biggest problem they ever had was that they didn't get to purchase the Ferrari they wanted to buy. That's the biggest issue they ever had in life. That was the most adversity they ever faced. They went to the store and the Air Jordans they wanted were not in stock. That's the biggest hardship they ever faced in their life. The biggest enemy they ever went up against was on their Xbox playing Madden or playing Call of Duty. That's the biggest enemy they ever faced in their life. So when it comes to the real world, they don't really know anybody. So when they get ready to turn their venom on somebody, they're going to turn it on you. They're going to turn their venom on you. And it's a sad thing to see. Master P's son is 35 years old now? And he's sitting up here telling people about what he think Master P owes him. And he's sitting up here trying to talk about, oh, well, I had this and that. I had this and that. I think he's 33. I had this and that. And talking about his father took millions from him to pay his tax debts. Although something's not evening out there. In the chat room, I'm going to stay focused on the boys tonight, though. We'll talk about the females some other time. We're focusing on the men. We're focusing on the men. And notice I keep referring to them as men. Grown-ass men, but their fathers made some fundamental failures and missteps. And I want us to take an opportunity to examine that. Now, here's what I want to do for you here first. Because I want to play something for you. Master P was on Nino Brown's YouTube channel. And they were talking about how Lil Romeo, Master P's son, is talking about, oh, he got $50 million or some crazy figure like that. Millions and millions of dollars from him having a Nickelodeon show. My daddy took the money. Master P doesn't really go into salacious detail, but he goes into enough to make some things clear. And he basically says something that I've been saying for years and years, talking about Tyler Perry. He says something that I talked about years and years and years ago, which is why it really does you no good to be in a Tyler Perry movie. I've been saying that for a decade. But Master P speaks about that and puts it in context of his son.
How much you think Tyler Perry pay actors and actresses? Ooh. Be honest. How much you think?
Millions.
See, you're wrong. Tyler Perry, Google this, y'all. Tyler Perry actors get $60-something thousand.
Let me make sure y'all heard that okay. Did y'all hear that? Did you hear what he said Tyler Perry's people make? Did y'all hear that? I've been telling you this now for over a decade. Over a decade, I've been saying it. Master P is just now saying it in the 21st century. I've been saying this for over a decade. Let me roll that back.
Like, man, let me say, so I got 30-something-year-old girls. If I tell them actors and actresses. So let me break the truth down for you. How much you think Tyler Perry pay actors and actresses? Ooh. Be honest. How much you think?
Millions.
See, you're wrong. Tyler Perry, Google this, y'all. Tyler Perry actors get $60-something thousand. You see what I'm saying? So if Tyler Perry make $280 million off a project, that's his money.
Right.
You signed up for the $60,000. I don't care how long it is. That's all you're gonna get.
That's what you signed for.
Okay.
And then nobody made them sign nothing.
No.
Right.
So think about it. Now the difference is Hollywood won't break me down because I'm an independent dude and I don't need them. Think about it. So now, what do you think you make on the Nickelodeon show? Because if my son said he made $50 million,
No, they don't pay like that.
what do you think they pay? What, Juggy?
Now, I thought this was pretty good because you heard Nino say, no, they don't pay like that. Listen to what Nino says next.
Google the highest paid star on Nickelodeon. That's anybody can do that. The journalists can do this too if they really, because this is how we got to educate our people. Because everybody want to get the Hollywood.
Watch this.
Love and Hip Hop came to me last year, and they offered me, you ain't gonna believe it, they said I would be the highest paid on Love and Hip Hop Miami. They said we'll give you $30,000. I said, what the fuck is $30,000? I make $50,000 to $60,000 a month.
See what I'm saying?
What I'm gonna do with $30,000 for a season?
Did y'all get that? That's Nino telling you. Nino just sat here and told the world, let me tell you something. Love and Hip Hop came to me last year, 2021. 2021, with Love and Hip Hop came to me last year and offered me $30,000. Told me I'd be the highest paid person on Love and Hip Hop Miami. This ain't me saying it. This is Nino saying it. Over 1 million views. Now, if what he's saying is a lie, Love and Hip Hop can come call him on that. But I'm those of you who actually know and aren't just sitting back being brain dead, mindless consumers, y'all already know that that's how these reality TV shows pay, and that's how these child television shows pay. Viacom, Disney. Those of you who got some sense about you know this for years. This is the way these folks have always operated. This is not new. This is not new. Folks, how many of you didn't know that Nona Scott and them, that that's what they do? How many of y'all didn't know that? How many of you are just figuring out tonight that you don't get paid millions, you get paid thousands? Some of y'all have just been sitting there watching it and geeking out with your butt teeth and didn't even know what the facts were. Folks, this is not new. What Nino's saying, this isn't new or novel. This isn't relegated to just him. This is how the business plan works. That's how they're able to sell these shows to these networks, because they paying next to nothing. Y'all remember years ago, Charlie Murphy and Corey Holcomb talked about this. When Charlie Murphy was on, what was that, Wildin' Out, I think it was? I think we said that they paid them like $1,500. They were only getting paid $1,500. That's the way these shows work on these cable networks. That's how they work. How many of you, some of y'all are just figuring this out tonight? This is how it's been for decades now. This ain't new. This is how it's been for decades. Decades. With folk trying to tell you that somebody's sitting up here caking off millions. These shows wouldn't exist if they had to pay those kind of sums. These shows wouldn't exist if they had to do that. They wouldn't exist. Now, to go to P's point, talking about the highest paid child actors, when you go take a look at them here, Ariana Grande, when she was on Nickelodeon, it's on Nickelodeon's top 10 paid actresses. At the time, she was getting $9,000. $9,000. Riella Down, $14,000. Ella Anderson, $18,000. Carrie Barrett, $20,000. Folks, we can go down the list. Danielle Perkins, $40,000. This chick here looks a little bit older, $50,000. People, come on now. Okay, maybe you don't believe the source. You can go to Insider. 9 of the highest paid TV child stars of all time. This is back in 2018. Angus T. Jones made history as the highest paid child actor ever. Worked his way up to $300,000 per episode by age 17 from 2.5 Men. Folks, by the time he was 17, he was getting $300,000. He didn't start out there. He didn't start out there. They had to work their way up to getting $180,000. Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle. He was making $30,000 an episode. $30,000. And that was on Fox. That wasn't even cable. That was on Fox. $30,000 an episode. What are you talking about? Maybe some of you saying, ooh, that good money right there. Really? It ain't millions of dollars. Do you understand? That's not millions of dollars. By the time he got done, he was making $120,000 an episode. That was when the series was getting ready to wrap. Let me go a little bit further here for you. Earlier this year, Josh Peck from Drake and Josh, he's out here dropping dimes now. He's out here dropping dimes about what he was getting paid as a child actor. He's out here dropping the dime on people now. From Drake and Josh, he said, Peck said his lifestyle after the show was very middle class despite his fame. Quote, you live with about $450,000 over 5 years, which breaks down to a little less than $100,000 a year. Now, certainly a great amount of money, but not enough to set you up for life. He's out here dropping the dime now. He's out here letting folk know what it really is. You see him on TV and internationally, Disney and Viacom getting hundreds of millions of dollars. You ain't getting that. You're not getting that. You know why? Because if you say no, do you realize that there are literally thousands of people behind you ready to say yes? Hell, to less money than they're offering you. To less money than they're offering you. Y'all do understand that, right? If you say no, there's 1,000 people behind you ready to say yes. He said, and a lot of it we lived on, and I'm not going to brag. My mom and I had a used BMW 5 Series. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with amenities. Folks, this is what they've been doing. This is the way it's always been. This is not new. This is not new. And yet P got to deal with this environment knowing what the numbers really are and what's really happening. He goes on later in this interview to say, and you know, he said, you can't really talk about, he said, I've been in some meetings where some folks said some crazy things to me, but you can't really say nothing like that because if you do, you ain't going to be they ain't going to deal with you again. You can't come out of a meeting and then talk about what you're unhappy about, what you don't like, what it didn't go your way, and what you think they should have been doing, and then you're going to go to the tabloids and say X, Y, Z. You can't do that. You can't do that. So I'm just trying to tell you here, folks don't understand what's really going on in that regard. But you'll sit up here and listen to folks on the internet just say any old damn thing. If you haven't done any research whatsoever, you don't know what the hell's really happening. If you do just a little bit of it, you're going to find out what's really going on. It ain't cute. It ain't cute. P been in it. He came from the soil. P been in it and came from the soil. And the kids didn't have to do that. The kids didn't have to do that. And as a result, now the kids are spoiled. As a result, the kids are spoiled. They sitting up here acting like somebody gonna give it to them. Because they didn't have to work for it. They didn't have to work for it. Not only did they feel somebody got to give it to them, they spitting venom at you because you ain't just breaking them off like hoes. You got to understand when your kids are letting you know that they not built to carry on what the Father has created. They're not built to carry on what the Father has created. The Father built it, but the sons aren't able. The sons aren't able. Let me tell you something right now. Little Romeo, let me tell you something, dude. First of all, your father only owed like $1.5 million. Originally, he had one debt back in 2004 for $270,000. They talking about putting him in jail for that. And I'm like, how the hell is that supposed to work? But here a few years ago, he owed $1.5 million. Okay, so what? Dude, it wasn't no $50 million. It wasn't no $50 million. It wasn't $50 million. That's my point. Let me explain something to you here, little Romeo. By the way, I got folks in P's family who listen to me, so it is what it is. I'm not going to diss nobody. We all got respect for P down in the boot. We all got respect for him. He came up from the soil. We all got respect for him. Let me tell you something, Romeo. If you made $20 million and your daddy kept half of that, let me tell you something, dude. You owe your dad $10 million, nigga. You owe him that. Let me be very, very clear. I'm coming at you from Shreveport side. Dude, even if you made 20 million, which you didn't, but even if you made it, which you didn't, but even if you did, even if your daddy kept half of that, dude, you owe that man that. You owe him 10 million. You owe that. Oh, woe is me, boo-hoo. I only got 10 million. Are you kidding me? Dude, you owe him that. Let me be very, very clear. See, here's something you don't understand, Romeo. Wasn't nobody trying to fool with you. Snoop Dogg tried to get his son on. Everybody and their mama tried to get their kids on. Kim Kardashian's trying to figure out how to get her kids on now. Everybody tries to get their kids on. Your dad was able to do it. Nobody wanted to talk to Romeo Miller because he's Romeo Miller. They wanted to talk to you because you Master P's son. We remove your father from the equation and you just another nigga from New Orleans. Get some humility. If we remove your father from the equation, you just another young struggling nigga from New Orleans. There is nothing special about you. You sitting up here trying to act like you all iced out and cute now, but that's all a product of your father. You didn't build any of this. Even the abilities you have now are a result of your father. You are the product of your father. And you acting like you a self-made man and ain't been through any adversity in life. 99% of my audience can go through more adversity than him standing on your heads. The most adversity he's ever had was he couldn't get the iPhone 13. He had to get the iPhone 12. Having a breakdown. Dude, you're acting like you built something. You didn't build anything. You are a beneficiary of your father. Nobody wants to sign Lil Romeo for a damn thing. Separate you from Master P and ain't nobody calling you. Nobody's calling you to get hot. Somebody tell me, who's the chick dating Lil Romeo that everybody, she's the it girl? Who's the chick dating Lil Romeo and now you the it girl? You're the one everybody wants to talk to. You're the one everybody wants to deal with. You're the one fellas trying to get at because you used to date Lil Romeo. Let him tell it the way he's acting and whatnot. He is the biggest. He was 3 times bigger and hotter than his father. Let him tell it. What the hell? And then the other thing I don't like is when he put up his little post, and I'm not going to show it here, but he put up his little post talking about, and my uncle C Murder and Silk, they know. So I'm like, dude, at that point right there, I'm like, oh, wait a minute now. No, you all the way out of line. Wait a minute now. Dude, y'all done let this little nigga get too far gone in your house. You let him get too far gone. How the hell is he gonna talk about his uncles as if he's one of their peers? Dude, you stay your ass out your grown folks' business. Those are your uncles. You don't know a damn thing. Who are you to speak on them? Y'all made these kids too comfortable. You talking about your uncles as if you one of them. You are not peers with your uncle, kid. You got no business whatsoever speaking on your dad's relationship with your uncles. They raised you. You was a little baby crawling on the floor at their feet. They raised you. How the hell you gonna sit up here and talk about them as if you're one of their peers? As if you right there with you. You talking as if you your father's brother and not your father's son. See, there's the real issue. He's talking like he's his father's peer. You're talking like you're your father's brother and not your father's son. That's a real big issue right there. That's a huge issue. when you sitting up here talking about your father like you and he are peers. And that's what I'm saying. Y'all let this little chappy get too damn far along. Y'all let him get too damn far along. You can't let that go on, because this is what it breeds. This is where it ends up at. This is where it ends up at. It ends up here. Well, little fella talking all crazy and got no respect for you and not realizing, dude, we don't have respect for Romeo for this. Dude, you don't get street credit for this. You ain't dirtying up your father's name. You the one looking like the hoe to Marquise Jackson. Dude, you ain't dirtied up 50 Cent's name. You the one looking like the hoe. Kirk Franklin's son, you didn't dirty up his name. You looking like the hoe. You letting all this internet stuff go to your head, making it look like you're some icon in your own right. No, you're not. You have not dirtied up their names whatsoever. You making yourself look silly, making yourself look petty. Ain't nobody sitting out here talking about, ooh, I can't wait for the next Lil Romeo album. I can't wait for the next Lil Romeo show. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. If you all agree with what you're hearing here tonight, give me a fire emoji in the chat. If you all agree with what I'm saying here tonight, give me a fire emoji in the chat and hit the likes button. We got almost 2,000 people in here tonight. If it is what it is and you're feeling that, go ahead and give me the fire emoji and hit the likes button for me. This is going to be our last broadcast of the business of 2022. I'm going to send us out on a good note. But if you feeling what I'm saying and it's the truth, hit me with a fire emoji and hit the likes button. It's almost 2,000 people in here tonight. If I'm offending some of the 65 mama's boys who think you need to eat off your daddy for the rest of your days, so be it. Let me say, first of all here, thank you to everybody who's contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, Cash App, or Super Chat. Ronnie Hunter, I see you there. I appreciate that. My man Wayne, thank you very much as well. And Jay Freeman Blackman. Jay Freeman Blackman is dropping the limousine. I appreciate it, brother. You came in first and foremost. Jay Freeman always on deck. So I appreciate your support, brother, as always. Thank you very much for showing it out. Next order of business here is something that Master P said. It's something that P said, and he really told the truth. He's figuring out a little bit too late, but he really told the truth.
On rice, maybe kneel on rice when I was out of line, doing something wrong.
He's talking about his grandfather. He's talking about his grandfather.
My grandfather was put me on rice, maybe kneel on rice when I was out of line, doing something wrong. He put the belt on me. That's one thing that I know that I didn't do right. I didn't discipline my kids, and I should have.
See that?
Because let me tell you something. So one of my daughters told me, "You hit me, I'm gonna call the police." So even when I was going through this with my other daughter before she passed, dog out. You know I did what I did with her boyfriend. You know that. And then I snatched her.
Now did y'all hear that? He said his daughter told him, if you hit me, I'ma call the police. Let me tell y'all something. I'm from the other end of Louisiana. Let me tell you something. My parents let it be known, you ever do that, you ever think to do something like that, you better get in the squad car with them. Them people ever show up at this house, you getting in the squad. When they leave, you leaving in the squad car with them. It'll be your last night here. You leaving in the squad car with them. You ever get that grown, you gonna be leaving in the squad car with them. So, you better tell them, hey, I hope y'all got room in the back of the paddy wagon, because you leaving with them. When they roll out, you rolling with them. If they roll out, you gonna be rolling out with them. How many of y'all have parents like that? If y'all have parents like that, give me the hand up emoji, not the fire emoji. Give me the hand up emoji. If you have parents like that who let it be known, oh, you ever think you gonna play that little card, you going with them people. You going with them. When that squad car roll off, you gonna be in the back of it with it. You gonna be in the back with them. Don't ever think don't ever tell yourself you gonna change the system. It ain't gonna be that way. It's not gonna be that way. I see a bunch of y'all came up the way I did. I'll be damned. That was a card you couldn't play right there. Let me tell you, my folks was dead ass serious. That was a card you couldn't play. That was a card you could not play. That wasn't going to be done. If you tried it, it wasn't going to happen but once. Wasn't going to happen but one time. So that's what I'm telling y'all. Like I say, it's just when you don't have the discipline there like it's supposed to be, man, the kids are going to come back and shame you. They're going to come back and hurt everything.
To lose millions, they get billions. That's why I'm on
that $10,000 life insurance policy has made $200
from my grandfather.
Who could
my grandfather was put me on rice, made me kneel on rice when I was out of line, doing something wrong. He put the belt on me. That's one thing that I know that I didn't do right. I didn't discipline my kids, and I should have.
See that?
Let me tell you something. So one of my daughters told me, "You hit me, I'm gonna call the police." So even when I was going through this with my other daughter before she passed, dog out. You know I did what I did.
Yeah.
Y'all got to understand. You spoil your kids, but more importantly, you spoil people around you at your own peril. Jalen, it means that he took rice, like the rice you buy at the store, and he had him get down. He spread it on the floor and had him get down on his knees. We from Louisiana, we know about that. And some of that's a little bit old school, but we know about that. Absolutely. You take some rice, you spread it on the floor, and you have that little bastard get down on his knees on it. It's not going to take very long before he gets the damn point. And the reason why is because you are raising your children in a city where they kill young black men, where they kill young black boys. If you don't put some wood on his ass, this street is going to knock his head off. The reason why you spank your children is so it makes it very clear to your children. They understand something very quickly in life. People will put their hands on you. You don't have constitutional rights on Common Street. You don't have constitutional rights on Canal Street. You say the wrong thing to somebody, or even if you don't, if you say the wrong thing to somebody, and even if you don't, you liable to get hurt or killed. You talk about the wards in New Orleans. We talk about the wards in Houston. Houston, stand up. You got to discipline your kids. Houston is a city that will kill your babies. You let them walk around out here with a spoiled ass attitude like they run things. Houston will kill your babies. Atlanta, stand up. Atlanta will kill your babies. Atlanta doesn't give a damn that that's your son husband. All you single mama sluts. Atlanta don't give a damn if that's your son husband. Atlanta will kill your little bastard. On camera. In front of everybody. Atlanta will kill him. Detroit, stand up. Detroit will take your little chap out of here. St. Louis, nah, let's move up the road to East St. Louis. We ain't even got to do St. Louis. Go up to East St. Louis. East St. Louis, Illinois. One of the murder capitals of America. Kill them quick. Kill them quick. D.C. If you ain't living near the White House, D.C. will kill your children. No, don't even talk about Philadelphia. Don't even talk about Philadelphia. I don't want to call it Philadelphia, but my folks that understand it's real. It's real. It's all the way real. Man, look here. They got gas stations now with armed guards. Folks in Philadelphia is tooling up. People all over Philadelphia are tooling up right now. It's starting to look like Louisiana in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is starting to look like Louisiana. Everybody's starting to tool up now. They used to come on the news talking about folks getting robbed. Now they talking about folks shooting that somebody tried to carjack and folks shooting in Philadelphia. That in Philadelphia, you try to carjack somebody, they busting on you. And that didn't take no 5 or 6 years to get kicked off neither. Philadelphia got right to the business. Philadelphia didn't need no 5 or 6 years. There was no culture war. Philadelphia got right to the business. And just like, hey, if this is what it is, let me get that Glock. Now, I'm talking about men, women, nurses. Let me get that 40 caliber. Let me get that. That happened over the course of the last 2 years. Philadelphia's like, oh, it's on. Okay. Police, by the time the police get here, it's going to be over. By the time the police get here, it's going to be over. Let me tell you something. Philadelphia will kill your kids quick. Philadelphia will kill them quick. Los Angeles will kill them quick. And I can name a bunch of other cities. Some that seem glamorous. Las Vegas, Minnesota, Manhattan. You can get it in Manhattan. You can get it in Brooklyn. You can still get it in Brooklyn. We can go down the list. Y'all talking about northern Florida, Jacksonville and Tallahassee. Y'all talking about northern Florida. Buddy, you can get it in central Florida. You can get it in southern Florida. You can get it in Fort Myers. Y'all, remember Miami was where they filmed the first 48. Everybody talking about Brick L and bikinis. Man, Miami is where they started the first 48. What you talking about? Birmingham, I just came through there. They done resurfaced Interstate 20. It's a spaghetti mess. They just resurfaced Interstate 20. You can get it in Birmingham all day. They serving all day. So that's what I'm telling you. That's the importance. You can't sit up here and play with your children. You trying to be a big ass child parent yourself. You need to be the parent. You're supposed to be the mature one. And you acting like a big ass kid yourself. You're supposed to have your kids prepared for this. You're supposed to have them prepared. New York City, folks is dying every other week in New York subways. Y'all understand that? Hakeem, I can believe they bought this house across the street. I can believe it. Folks, in New York subways, folks is dying every other week. In the subway, dying every other week. What you talking about? And you gonna send your kid out here with some prima donna complex because you trying to be some soft ass your damn self, acting like this is some big ass game. You're sending your children out here to get killed. You better show them what the world is really capable of and let them know somebody will reach out and put their damn hands on you. Somebody will do that because as the parent, you gonna spank them. These streets gonna try to kill them. Remember the girl went down to Mexico. You know, like I know, all of y'all know her friend set her up. Y'all know that. She went down to Mexico. Them girls set her up. They were intending to do that before they went down there. Anybody looking at that could tell that wasn't something that just happened when they got there. It's like you go down there and all these people, they start beating on you and all of them are just standing around. Oh, girl, they had it in for you before you went. They brought you down there because they figured it wouldn't be illegal to do you up down there. But here's the problem. They started beating on her. And when they started doing it, they're like, you know what? I really don't like you. And they just started beating on her as much as they hated her. So it's one thing to beat on somebody as much as you don't like them. But they're like, you know what? I'm going to beat on you until I don't hate you anymore. And what you figured out is, oh, she's going to be dead before that happens. And that's exactly what occurred. With all of them standing around and laughing. They had her stripped ass naked, beating her. And her parents apparently did not train her to be any more savvy or smart than that. They raised them. Well, my grandparents used to say, you raising them for the grave. All you doing is raising them for the grave. I don't even know why you gave birth to them. You just raising them for the grave. You raising them for the grave. This is what the world will do. The world will grab your child and kill your baby while you telling them about what folks better not do, as if you got some power. You can say whatever you want to. You got freedom of speech. Look here, you got freedom to get your ass killed. You got freedom of death. You trying to tell your kids about freedom of speech. You got freedom of death. You got freedom of death. Folks out here raising their kids for the grave, man. You're raising them for the grave. You have accomplished fathers who understand how the streets work, but in their efforts to save their children, which in many ways they're trying to save themselves, you're trying to spare your children the hardship that you yourself went through. And in the process, your children are not getting the full range of training that they need. They are not grounded. They've lived their lives in a fantasy world, and you calling that parenting. They've lived their lives in a fantasy world, and you trying to call that being a great parent. See, there's the problem we have today. Too many of y'all who have kids, you're trying to raise your children to be your friends. So your children like you, but they don't respect you. They like you, but they don't respect you. And then eventually that, if they don't respect you, like is going to go out the window too. You think having kids who like you that, okay, I'm winning as a parent. If the kids like me, I win. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You need to have, let me tell y'all something right now. It is better to have children who in their formative years, they don't like you. I said it, nigga. It's better to have children that during their formative years, when they're an adolescent, a teenager, when they want to go through their rebellious stage, it's better to have children who don't like you. How many of y'all, when you were adolescents and teenagers, you didn't like your old man? He was a hard ass. He was always working you. He was tough on you. He was always, strict on you. He was always giving you a hard time. Always making you work and do chores. How many of y'all, when you grew up, you didn't like your old man? And then once you became grown and you saw how silly and goofy ass these other kids out here were, you're like, I'll be damned, I had a good dad. I'll be damned. I'm grateful to have my old man now, because I could have grew up like you niggas. I could have come up like you. Then later you're like, okay, I can appreciate the man my father was. I can appreciate the man my father was. Black ups, I posted that thing before. Strong men create good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Hard times create strong men. But strong men tend to create good times, and good times don't make strong men. Good times make weak men, and weak men create hard times. Let me tell y'all something right now. You need to understand that. You need to understand that. The number one reason why fellas cannot really invest or commit to single mothers is single mothers want to make their sons have an easy time because she can't get along with real men. So she tries to turn her son into a husband. If a single mother has the attitude of, look, they need a man who's going to build their son into a man, and then she understands, I am not fit nor suited for the job, I can't do it, you hand it over to somebody who can. You wouldn't have the situation that you have now. You wouldn't have the situation that you have now. You have reputations well earned. Understand something right now. Giving your children an easy time, you're growing them for the grave. You're growing them for the grave. What you want to do, you don't want to give them money. You want to instill the characteristics that build people who can do anything, including create money. But he's got to be driven to do that. Otherwise, all you've done is make another dependent. Let's just go ahead and call it what it is. 50 Cent talked about his son in his book, The 50th Law. And he was talking about how, he told his son, hey, why don't we go ahead and see about buying you a store in New York so you can go ahead and, you like shoes so much, why don't we go ahead and buy you a shoe store? His son didn't want to do that. Well, no, because you let his son stay with that perverted, corrupted woman who's sitting up here telling your son that he needs to get treated like you. That's what she's not in line for any benefits, so she's telling your son that he's supposed to get the same benefits she getting. Because she knows the boy ain't going to do nothing but bring it to her. Did you catch that? See, that's how they use your children against you. I'm a guy who doesn't have any biological children, and I know the game. That's what they do. They try to hold your children against you. So she knows if she's not eligible for them benefits, let me see if I can get the kids to lean on you. Let me see if I can get the kids to give you a hard ass time. And then they'll bring the benefits to me. They'll bring it home to me. Since you ain't going to give it to me, I'm going to corrupt your legacy, and they going to bring it to me. They're going to come get it. You got to understand that. Your children benefit much more from you allowing them to learn the characteristics that you did. Because all this giving your kids something does is it makes them entitled and spoiled. You were able to build empires because you went through wars. I said it. You were able to build this empire because you've been through wars. You know what it takes to be battle hardened and battle tested. You know what it takes to go through adversity and to keep digging even when it looks like that you ain't digging to nowhere. And that was what made you the man you are, by having the ability to do that. But you see, if you don't build your son into a similar man, it doesn't work. If you don't build your son into a similar man, it will not work. You see, you're supposed to be building your son into a general. You might be the emperor, but you're building first you got to become a general, then you can become an emperor. You're supposed to be building your son into a lieutenant. He's supposed to be a lieutenant and learning next to you. But understand something, y'all. And I see Master P when he's gone places and stuff. He's done videos. I remember with Tryon Motors, he's got his son with him. He's side by side. So he's going with his father. But what I'm saying is, if the boy isn't forced to build, and by virtue, if he is not forced to fail, if he's not put in situations where he fails and he understands that you really can lose it, y'all understand something. If you don't make sure that your children have it in them to pick themselves up, when they do get knocked down, they won't know how to pick themselves up. See, this is why they clinging to you like a bunch of hoes, even as grown men going into their 30s and 40s, because they don't know how to stand on their own. So they're just demanding more and more of you because he has no clue how to make anything on his own. So he's trying to extract more from you. If you had succeeded in teaching him the character traits and the principles that made you the man you are, he would simply be saying, hey, I don't even really need my dad like that. I'm already built. I'm already ready to go. I just need to get out here and make it pop on my own. See, that's when you know that your son has learned. When he's like, hey, I'm not really looking to get nothing off of you. I'm not going to tell you I can make it. I'm going to do it. You know why? Because that's what the father did. All these men you see on the screen, they all dealt with somebody at the beginning of their careers or whatever. They had other folk involved. And then they said, you know what? I can do it better. But they didn't just say they could do it better. They got up and did it. Do you see the difference? They didn't just say they could do it. They got up and they did it. They got up and they did it. He didn't tell the rest of the world what he was going to do. He just got up and did it. He got up and made it happen. And that's what you do. If you really understand it and you really mastered it, you don't sit around complaining about your father. You know why? Because even if you lose $5-10 million, and I've been there, you're supposed to go back and go get it again. If you are the source and if you truly understand it, it's like, hey, that's not going to be my last $100,000. Y'all know me. I know what it's like to sit up here and blow hundreds of thousands. And what I learned from those experiences of picking myself up is, hey, that's not going to be my last one. So nobody's going to stop me from going back out and getting the next one. But when your sons are sitting up here hugging you around the damn ankle and sitting up here whining and pitching and moaning and begging and ragging on you, That means that they're not suited and they're not built to be able to get out here on their own and get it for themselves. That's a formula for disaster. That's your damn legacy right there. That's your legacy. That's your legacy. Imagine that. This is how you have sons sitting up here begging females to provide. He's got no vision and got no way. He's got no vision and got no way. And there's another thing that I want you all to understand. I don't give a damn what Romeo claims his father did. As far as I'm concerned, as long as your daddy ain't been touching you in places he shouldn't be touching you, you really ain't got nothing to say. Understand something, Romeo. Understand something, dude. See, y'all sit up here and raise these congenitally immature boys in your houses, and this is how it turns out. Let me explain you something to you. I've told you all about this before. My mother told me when I was a little kid, you need to respect me. You need to always show me deference for one reason. Because the rest of the world is only going to give you half as much respect as they see you give me. Let me say it again. That's something Mama Black taught me at an early age. Not at the end of a switch or a belt. She told me that the rest of the world is only going to show you half as much respect as they see you give me. And if you teach the world that they don't have to respect me, then by definition, you are going to teach them that, oh, well, if you came from her, how the hell you think the world's going to give you more respect than they see you give her? How the hell you think that's going to happen? You think the world is going to give you more respect than her? Nigga, how can this be? How can it be? How can it be? So just understand exactly how that works. Romeo, we are never, it doesn't matter what you do. Dude, we are never going to give you more respect than your father. That ain't going to happen. You would have to do 5 times what your dad has done. You'd have to do 5 times what your daddy has done. We're never going to respect you more than your father. We watched that man come up. We watched what he did. But furthermore, even if we didn't know him from a can of paint, we're judging your character. And if the character is lacking, if the character is wanting and the character is lacking, it is what it is. It is what it is. But you are delusional if you expect that we're going to give you more respect than your daddy. So there's the number one reason why you should not be speaking against your father at all, dude. You're undermining yourself. You're undermining yourself. You're not elevating you. Dude, we didn't know you. We didn't know your sister. We didn't know what was going on there. We're not going to take your word for it. And even if we did, we still are not in a position to make a judgment like that. All you doing is dragging yourself down. Because take a look at it. It's a week later. You don't hear anybody offering you anything. Nobody's offering you a deal. And there isn't anything that was on the table for your father that anybody has taken off the table. Nobody's offering you a deal, and there isn't anything that was on the table for your father that has been taken off the table. Not because of you. I will tell you one thing right now, though, bruh. Let me tell you something. Everybody who saw you do this, don't you know everybody's saying, I'll be damned if he'll do that to his own father. You expect me to sign a contract with him? Take a look at what he did to his own dad. I'm trying to give y'all the 720 degrees of analysis. Take a look at what he did to his own father. Now, if he's willing to do this to his very own dad, If he's willing to do this to the man who raised him, if he's willing to do this publicly like this, what do you think he'll do to the rest of us? Now that he's showing you what he's cut like, what do you think he's going to do to the rest of us if he has a chance? You think it's going to be any different? You think it's going to be any different?
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
It doesn't work that way. You're not going to be able to sit up here and go out there and get these folks to give you more respect. Now that we done seen what you would do with your dad, I'll be damned. Do you realize how silly and stupid you and I would look trying to make any type of deal with him? Can you imagine what you and I would look like trying to shake hands with him? Y'all tell me, how do you make a deal with Lil Romeo now? How do you handle business with him now? You tell me, what do you do? Tell me, what's the rationale you're using? Tell me what the rationale is you would use to sit up here and break bread with him at this point. What rationale are you operating under? If he's willing to do this to his father, let me tell y'all something. Everybody and their mama knows that Beyonce had a falling out with her dad. Has Beyonce come out talking slick about that man like this? Has she come out trashing that man's legacy? Has she come out and said nothing like that? Has she come out and said anything like that? There's a reason people will still do business with her. There's a reason for that. There's a reason. And it's not because she is Beyonce. She is Beyonce because she didn't do that. It's not that she didn't do that because she's Beyonce. She's Beyonce because she wouldn't do that. She wouldn't do that. That man built her into what she is today. That man made all that possible. She knows it. And she's not dumb enough to sit up here and discredit that and diminish it. She's not stupid enough to do that. She's not stupid enough to do that. No matter what the issue is right there, no matter what it is, there's a way you handle things. But particularly where your parents are concerned, it's like, no, that looks like mental illness. Let me tell you, that looks like mental illness. When you start operating that way, that just looks like mental illness. That doesn't look like you're okay. That looks like you throw the hell off. That looks like you on some Norman Bates stuff. That doesn't look healthy. That doesn't look healthy. Let me tell you right now, I unless somebody did something to you, like touched on you, it's, oh, no. No. I can't really rock with no dude who would do this. You're never going to convince me you ain't going to do something to me. I'm sitting here looking at what you did to your father. You're never going to convince me that you would never, well, I would never do nothing like that to you, Jason. The hell you wouldn't. The hell you wouldn't. You do it in a minute. You do it in a minute. So these fellas tonight, man, there's a powerful lesson being learned, and you're seeing a streak of it here. People, you cannot give your kids too much too soon. You cannot give your kids too much too soon. You can't do it. You're going to have to make them earn that, but you can't give them too much too soon. They got too many voices in their ear. They got social media. Don't y'all know getting money will make folk in your family go nuts about that? Master P talking about that with his brothers now, with C Murder and Silk the Shocker. It's like, dude, hold on a second. How is it all y'all brothers and only one of y'all has been able to stay out of trouble to make the money come like it's supposed to? But he's the one in the wrong? You all had the same shot. You all had the same shot. No, I want to stay in these streets around these old dudes out here and keep it real. Okay, hold this life sentence. Let me tell y'all something. Any of y'all who got people who've been locked away? I'm from Louisiana. Everybody know Angola. Angola is internationally known. Internationally known. But let me tell you something, man. When you get locked up, that's it. Your folks might come see you for a little bit, but that's going to be it. You out of sight, out of mind. You out of sight, out of mind. There ain't really nothing they can do for you. Prisons, by their definition, are located far away from the civilian population. So by definition, it is a hassle to go and see somebody. It's like an out-of-town trip. It's like going on vacation. Dude, if you get locked away, that's it. There's nothing your family can do for you. If you get locked up, unless you innocent. Now, if you're innocent, that's going to be a different matter. But even then, it's going to be more lawyers seeing you than anything else. But if you're innocent, that's it. That's it. That's it. You can't sit up here and put yourself into a bind and then everybody's supposed to stop what they doing to come take care of you, and you on ice. You on ice. You're on ice. In the chat room, 123X, you said one of your brothers doing 70 years. I know it. Let me tell you, these streets out here is only given two things: life sentences and death sentences. Did you hear me? These streets out here are only giving out two things: life sentences and death sentences. Somebody better tell you that. And your sons, if your sons are going to lead the family and lead the warrior class, they got to be built understanding that. They got to be built understanding that. They handing out life sentences and death sentences. While you sitting up here training your son to be all soft and sensitive and be your damn friend, hell no. You need to be training him to take over your regime. You need to be training him for that. Damn all that soft stuff. Let everybody else drive the luxury cars. You go take your kid to Walmart and get him some of them Asics or some of them and ones. Yeah, I want a pair of Jordans. Let me get you this knockoff and one right here. That kind of looks like the Flying Man is good enough for you. Daddy, I need $100. Okay, let me go. Daddy, can you give me $100? I can give you a lawnmower and a weed eater. Those of y'all up there in New York State, you know right now, I'll be damned. This is good money-making weather. I said it. This is good money-making weather. I'm from Louisiana. Let me tell you, when it snowed, you was out there. If you got kids, y'all understand that even from those of you in New York, that used to be the thing. If you had kids, they was cleaning up every damn house on the block, remember? They was getting every house on the block, starting with the little old ladies, starting with the elderly people, starting with the elderly, starting with them. You got your kids sitting in the damn house there on Instagram, and there's snow piled up every damn where. Snow piled up every damn where. There's supposed to be a snow shovel in every hand. There's supposed to be a snow shovel in every hand. If your kids want something, you're supposed to make it very clear to them. They understand. You're going to see the value of that. You're going to see the value of that and understand what you got to do to make $1, I got to do to make $1. Nobody's giving us nothing. Nobody gave it to me. Ain't nobody going to give it to you. If you demonstrate that you appreciate what it takes to make that $1 happen, maybe one day I'll bring you into the business when you're ready. But you're not going to get into the business because you're my kid. You're going to get into the business because you're ready. And the only real advantage that you get is you get to live with me. So you really got no excuse for not soaking up the game because you live with me every day. Because understand something, y'all. Y'all know what it is. Let me tell you right now. Even back in the day, it wasn't there one of us. We would have been just happy to sleep on the floor at P's house when things was picking up. Up there in New York, young niggas know you'd have been just happy just to sleep on the floor at 50 Cent's place. When he gets up in the morning, you're going to get up and be ready to roll. Remember P. Diddy's making the band. P. Diddy's making the band. They were just happy to be around. You ain't never going to get this close to somebody who's built and made. A 30-minute conversation with one of them can change your damn life because very clearly they understand something that you don't. You might consider yourself to be a pretty sharp person and a pretty smart kid, but at the end of the day, they know something you don't, and they were able to execute it. You don't end up where these men are by accident. It ain't by a fluke. These dudes didn't just hit one grand slam and they've been set for life. They had to come back season after season and keep winning championships. Do you understand that? They had to come back season after season after season and keep winning championships. It wasn't just one hitter quitter. It wasn't just one album. P had movies. P had albums. P signed other people. He had merchandising. It wasn't just one thing. Never one thing. I know the cell phone company and stuff. It was never just one thing. 50 Cent. It was albums. It was movies. It was vitamin water. It wasn't just one album and just one hit song and you set for life. Let me tell you, y'all all know, at least you should know. I don't know if anybody's still stupid, naive enough to think. Let me tell you something. You have a platinum selling album in today's music business. That's not going to do nothing for you. If you got a record deal, going platinum ain't going to do nothing for you. When them folks get done, if that album makes $20 million, you'll be lucky if you get $500,000. You'll be lucky if you walk away with $500,000. When they get done with the books and the fees and all the publishing and distribution and marketing and promotion, and once they get done with that and taking out their money and stuff, you'll be lucky if you get $500,000. Get ready to start touring. Oh, by the way, tour is going to be a mess because here's the thing. If they have to front the money for your tour, oh boy. If they have to front the money for you to go on tour so you can go talk about any place you want to go do a show at, if you're not a person who is promoting yourself and doing your own shows ahead of time, if you didn't learn how to do the business yourself, you depend on these folks to schedule your shows and schedule appearances and go put the money down and the deposits on the auditorium or the arena or the stadium or whatever. You depend on them to put the money up for it. Oh, no. All this coming out your pocket. This is coming out of yours. And you know what? That's business. Let me tell y'all something. If you were the record label, you do the same thing. You would have to. You'll never stay in business if you don't. If you're putting up you're running a business on a charity. Out of every 10 acts the record label has, 1, maybe 2 make money. But those 2 albums have to make up for the other 8 that lose money. Death Row Records was an anomaly in the music business. It wasn't just an anomaly. It was a phenomenon. Death Row Records was a phenomenon. This is the first record label that you ever saw that put out nothing but hit albums. That doesn't happen. And we're not just talking about because of Dre. Remember, Dre was the only known person. Nobody else was known. Snoop Dogg, Daz, Corrupt, Tupac. They wasn't known. Nobody knew who they were. They came to Death Row and Death Row made them hot and they popped off from the very beginning. That was a phenomenon. That's not the way it happens. Usually the way it happens is if the record label makes 10 albums, 1 might be a hit. 2, if you're very lucky. 2, if you are very lucky. But as far as everything y'all put out goes platinum, Justin, dude, just stop. Be quiet. Tupac was not made before Death Row. Y'all need to stop. No, he wasn't. We're not even going to argue about this. This is why we don't do these kind of things, because Negroes who sitting up here with these pockets stuck out and their lips buck-toothed, they want to act like they know something. If Tupac was doing so great before Death Row, he never would have had to sign a Death Row. Knock it off. If Tupac was doing so great before Death Row, he never would have had to sign to Death Row. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. If Tupac was doing so great before Death Row, he wouldn't have been signing a record deal on a roll of toilet paper. Knock it off. By the way, these are the astute business minds in the chat room there, fanboys and fangirls. Just understand, if you want to know how to go broke, listen to somebody like them. Just listen to them folks here and you'll figure out how to go broke quickly. Why, so Tupac, you is already made. You mean with that round and round? You mean with that? You mean round and round and Brenda had a baby? You mean with that? You mean with that? Well, yeah, some guy named Justin in the chat room said you was made. Oh, for Brenda had a baby? Are you sure? Y'all talking about folk who can remember Tupac did not blow up until he got to death row. That was it. We're not even going to discuss that. In any case, when you got to learn to get out here and make it for yourself, you see things differently. You see things differently. That's it. You got to learn. And the best thing you can do is make them kids sit there and learn. If they come up the hard way and they got to scrap for it, because here's the thing, they're not going to be in the same hood you were in. They're not going to grow up in the hood you were in. They're not going to grow up in that. So what is it that they cut their teeth? What battles have they won? You might be a 5-star general and a no-limit soldier, but your son was not fighting them battles with you. Your son wasn't doing that with you. What did he learn from these wars? He wasn't even born. When you were winning these wars, he wasn't even, if he was born, he was just a little kid. He wasn't there fighting with you. He wasn't there fighting with you. So that is why it is important that you put them through the ranks. And for the women, that goes for your daughters also. You make little princesses and prima donnas out of them at your own peril. That doesn't mean you raise them like boys, but they have their rites of passage as females. She doesn't need to be using a bunch of profanity. She needs to be intelligent. She needs to be demure. She needs to know how to make herself look proper so that she represents a family well. She needs to know how to cook. She needs to know how to clean. She needs to know how to take care of children. She needs to be concerned. Let me tell you, a narcissistic, psychopathic chick with no empathy, she doesn't need to be raising children. At best, she'll raise little narcissists. At worst, she'll be completely negligent. You don't do them any favors doing that. However, maybe you disagree. Therefore, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the program that all your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. This is the spot. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program here on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat. So Jerome M., this is for the men tonight. You better believe it. Project Leroy on deck. We appreciate that. And to everyone who is here, live or recorded for that matter, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I wasn't going to broadcast. I don't really broadcast on Fridays anymore. I wasn't going to do that, but I saw this and I really did feel like I needed to say something. I saw this and just the ramifications of it and what it means. That's not a great thing. I'm seeing this right now, and I'm seeing it's turning into a string of black men who they're getting out here and they building and they're working. And I'll tell you what the other issue is. The other issue is when you don't have a sensible wife in charge of your children. I got to call it for what it is. A lot of these fellas, they just had kids by what's her name. They had children by what's her name, or a chick you don't really fool with like that. Well, yeah, because she's not mother material. She's not really mother material. But you done made a mom of her, and now she's the mother of your children, and you're just praying and hoping for the best. And that's not the way it works. So you've got some reckless female in charge of your legacy. You got some reckless female in charge of your legacy, and now she's tainting it and screwing it up and messing with it. In some cases, doing it deliberately because she wants to get back at you. Let's be very, very clear. We all know that's what happened with 50 Cent's first woman, Marquise's mother. She got left behind. She got left behind, and she was dealing with a dude who believes in dragging you. So she thought she was going to catch the gravy train, and 50 said, yeah, the gravy train is getting derailed. So she's been spending every waking moment since then trying to punish him through his son because she has no means to punish him directly. He's petty as hell. So if you try to start a beef with him, that's not going to bother him. Hell, that's going to enhance his resume. So you can't get at him directly. So she's going after your son. She's going after you through your son. She's going after you through your son. Just understand that. If you get folks who sit up here and do those kind of things, if you don't have a female who is married and committed to you, and she is all the way down like faux flats, and she is committed to your legacy, not just getting a baby. She's not just interested in getting a baby, but she is actually interested in your legacy. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a female like that. And I noticed these fellas didn't have solid chicks like that. They really didn't have that. They really didn't have that. We're going to go ahead and open up the phone lines here. Let me get caller from area code 202. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Culture from DC.
Culture from DC. What's on your mind?
Really just what I wanted to say is that Romeo's statements were certainly an embarrassment on the legacy that his father built, especially, understanding how people in the game really regard what Percy Miller has done for the industry for black people in hip hop. I myself was raised by a single father. My folks waited to have kids so they got married. And when they got divorced, neither one of them had any kids again. So much respect to my parents. I know me and my brothers would never. That's really all I got to say.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 678. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is JR, and I'm calling from Atlanta.
All right, JR from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
I wanted to ask you, as far as I heard the Akon comment, as far as he commented on Nick Cannon with the multiple kids thing. I wanted to know, as far as he said something to the nature of staying around a lot of kids at a young age. That's white man shit. It was kind of, some people took that, a lot of people took that the wrong way, but I kind of want to know your opinion on that.
Well, first of all, Akon has really kind of exposed himself as a hump-hurt clown, to be totally honest. But certainly, I'm not going to take a whole bunch of advice from him in that regard. I'm not going to take a bunch of advice from him in that regard, because he's not really trying to make a good point, is what he's not trying to make. He was trying to make the point that, it don't really matter and this, that, and the other, because he's trying to have a harem. Here's the real issue, though, brother. You cannot be a father. Even Nick is complaining about that now. Ooh, all the kids are in different places. It's hard to be involved with them. Well, hell yeah, nigga, because your sex life does not overcome the laws of physics. You cannot be an effective father in 7 different states. You can't be an effective father across 7 different states. So what you're really doing is a bunch of dudes who are sitting up here. They're overgrown children themselves. They've got all kinds of mental and emotional issues that they're dealing with. Shout out Akon. And this is just one of the reasons why folks in the entertainment business are the last people that you take your moral principles from. Just because somebody is entertaining doesn't mean that they know a damn thing about the world, certainly about how to have a sensible life. That many kids, all you're going to be doing is hearing about how much mess they get into. But here's what you won't be hearing. You won't be hearing how they carried on the legacy. You take a look at Joe Jackson and Jackson 5. They carried on his legacy. You take a look at Beyonce and Solange, for better or worse, they've carried on the legacy. You take a look at these other folks out here having kids willy-nilly. They got kids by 3 and 4 different women, and nobody's ready to take over the legacy. That's not accidental.
Wow. Do you think that you should have that many kids just to see as far as who should carry on a legacy? I mean, you have one child that's like, you know, would you look at that as like a small chance of one individual carrying on, or would you multiply?
No, having an only child is the worst thing you can do. Only children, and by the way, only children doesn't mean that they were the only child you had. If they were the only child in the house between the ages of 1 and I think it's roughly 10 or 12 years old, but between then and adolescence, teenage years, that alone is enough. That alone is
absolutely
enough. That one right there by itself. If they're on the phone that long, if they're in the house that long by themselves, that's all they really need. That's all they really need.
Right.
If they're by themselves. So raising children by themselves makes them selfish. It makes them believe that everybody's going to be able to focus all their attention on them. It's going to make them believe that whenever they want something, that they get to immediately be the center of attention. Raising children as only children does all kinds of things. Furthermore, parents are usually learning with their first child. They're usually learning. So they usually screw up the first child, and the second child usually turns out to be a bit more balanced. But so it actually works better if you have more than one kid. It really works better than that. Were you raised? You said you're raised by your father or your mother?
I was raised by my father. I left my mother when I was around 12 years old. Okay. I left her. I wanted to be around my dad.
How old?
My dad, he was in California. He was,
How old are you now?
You said it again. I'm 29.
Okay. And did your father teach you, to be handy, or how do you feel about that?
I actually observed my father. My father did teach me things that was well needed in the world. I seen things that could have been better, and it's so interesting that I've been around my father all my life. Did he teach you basic
automotive repair? Did he teach you basic automotive maintenance?
My father doesn't have skills in that area.
Okay.
No, he was a barber.
Oh, okay. Did he teach you basic things around the house then?
And my father, he's also a black belt in Kempo. He taught me how to defend myself.
Okay. Did he teach you basic things around the house?
You know what's interesting about that?
Slow down.
What's interesting about that part?
Did he teach you basic? Slow down. Did he teach you basic things around the house?
He taught me certain things to survive.
Okay. Did he teach you? Did he teach you the necessity of putting a battery in the smoke detector so you can survive a fire? Did he teach you that one? Okay. It sounds
honestly,
like
no.
He might have missed that one. So everybody in the chat room,
he did.
Can we have a short collection so we can get him a 9-volt battery and possibly some instructions to put it in?
And excuse me, my father loves your channel, by the way.
I'm glad
to watch you all the time. I'm just being he's gonna be ecstatic that we had this conversation, just to let you know.
Yeah.
But
Dad, we're gonna get him a step ladder and a 9-volt battery and some Scotch tape, and we're gonna see if we can get that together. Thank you very much for giving us a call. We're gonna hold the collection for him. So I'm very glad Dad was a barber. He said, Dad, he didn't teach me to be very handy. I see. Okay. That thing was so loud. That means he's like sitting right up under it. Either that or he's got like a calf in his house. He's sitting right up under it. I'm like, that thing's chirping like that. I'm like, whoa, hurt my eardrum. Call him area code 352. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, you're on live. Wake up.
My name is Tyshawn.
Okay. I'll give you one chance here, whoever you are. Take your phone off a speaker. It's too early to be this drunk. Or maybe it's not.
My name's Tyson. Hello?
Yes.
Hey, bitch, I know you hear me. My name's Tyson, fuck nigga.
Okay. Oh, this is the
Bitch ass nigga.
this is the little fruit booty dude. That's been a long
Nigga, suck
time.
my dick,
This has
bitch.
been a long time.
I'll
Hey,
slap your
are you
mama.
still living with your girlfriend? Are you still living with her?
Nigga, what?
Are you
Nigga,
still
I'm living with your bitch.
Are you
She's
still living with
sucking
her?
She's sucking on my dick, nigga.
Last time he called in, he was living with her. So,
I better never catch you lacking out in the streets for real, fuck nigga.
dude, you're lacking.
I'm really from Jacksonville, nigga. I'm in Jacksonville right now.
Okay, Jacksonville is where you belong.
What, you trying to be racist?
No, I'm calling you ridiculous. Jacksonville is where you belong.
Nigga, I'm the hardest white dude out here. I'm the hardest white dude out here.
I don't believe that.
Fuck nigga. What you mean? I'm the hardest white dude out here, fuck nigga.
I don't believe that. Unfortunately for you, you don't have very much entertainment value. So, folks, if you're going to call in and troll, at least be entertaining. If you're going to call in and troll, at least be entertaining. So at least do that. By the way, if anybody knows his number, please give him a wellness check. Because, like I say, he's dealing with issues. Last time he had his girlfriend, and he's still trying to get his life together. They strung out on that lean. They're strung out on that lean. So, tends to be an issue there. But if anybody knows his number, please give him a wellness check. He's dealing with all. He heard us talking about soft boys, and he was like, "Hey, soft boys who got touched on. That was me." So he's kind of upset and feeling himself. Caller from area code 203. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Interactive Wave from Fairfield County, Connecticut.
Okay, what's your name again?
Interactive Wave, Jason Emersy from Fairfield County, Connecticut.
All right, what's on your mind?
Yeah, thank you for this broadcast. Just to share my experience. Two things. You always tell us in the business it's about power dynamics. I got to give my props to P50 and Kirk Franklin, you know what I mean, for what they did in the music genre. First and foremost, and that the Ungrateful Sons, like my experience, I got gamed up. My dad wasn't around, but I knew of them out there in the streets, and that's the difference from my generation to, let's say, the millennials. Like, the hood raised us, so even though I cut up, I got the game, you know what I mean? So it was like, and you told us to lead by accomplishments, you know, good, bad, or indifferent, right? That's what I hold dear to today. I don't have biological kids yet, but my nieces and nephews, I get the game from you, and I try to give them nuggets. As far as the Ungrateful Sons, being high valued and getting to the producer status, like I'm from the hood for real, like government cheese, kerosene heaters, and I know what the struggle is. Some of the millennials, they don't understand that. So I got to say that even though the iPhones and the internet is raising them, there are some ones that can receive the game. Some of them, that entitlement, like I had to work for my first pair of Jordans, right? That's why I wear sneakers now, because I'm learning to invest in myself. And some of these youngins, when they're being spoiled, I'm from like the religious, you spare the rod, you spoil the child. Like they will put leather to butts to me, and that's tightening me up when I'm out here in these streets, because these streets don't care about nobody, Jason. So I remember them butt whoopings, and I remember like, okay, you want to cut up? We're going to cut your ass. Excuse me for cursing. So now I could see myself coming out here in these streets. So when they get kind of squirrely, I'm like, okay, I know what it is. So I'm thankful for that, if you will, corporal punishment. Some of these youngins, they don't know what it is to struggle. So I appreciate, I work for what I get, right? I earn my keep. I'm not where I want to be, but getting game from you, being that producer, and just seeing it come up from P50 and Kirk Franklin, there's hope that keep grinding and that there's no shortcuts to success. Do the work. It ain't going to be given to me like I'm entitled just because, I'm here. Oh, I'm supposed to get something. I think that's some of the mentality of the youngins, and I just hope that during, going forward, those B1 code young ones, sisters and brothers, can get game, and those that don't, hey, listen, either you learn from humiliation or humble, but that leading with accomplishment,
here's the thing.
Being grateful.
Here's the thing, the margin for error is so slight. The margin for error is so thin. You don't get a chance to be raised by a millionaire, man. You don't get a chance to, you and I understand that, dude. You don't get a chance to grow up your whole damn life and sit at their feet and see all the ins and outs and to understand the psychology behind it and the way in which you deal with people and just how high things can really go. Man, you don't get that every day. And if you just so happen to be born and blessed to be born in that environment, the problem is they don't know how lucky they are because they've never had to make it without it. They've never been allowed to go for an extended period of time and just have no safety net, no cushion, no nothing.
I hope they could catch game before it's too late, because if I had the opportunity, if I was one of these individuals, men's son, when I was like coming up, man, I would have soaked the game up, because like I said, I was from them streets. So I seen the hustlers, but for these accomplished, where they came from, it's almost ain't no excuse. No cap, but hopefully, like, this would be a learning experience, a teaching moment for some of them youngins to be like, hey, if my father's a producer, I'm going to get this game, and I'm going to, try to follow the example. Otherwise, hey, listen, they're going to learn the hard way. You know what I mean?
What it goes to show you is a lot of these folks out here, they're going to look up one day and they'll have no inheritance in the land, and they'll wonder why it is. It's because your father would be better off finding a 50 Cent or some other protege to put this in than you. And yes, I know about Dre and his daughter. He'd be better off finding somebody else, because what he's built is going to be wasted on you. Thank you very much for giving us a call. This man has done too much. He's survived real bullets. He's done too damn much to sit up here and give it to you. It'll be wasted on you. It would just be wasted. Caller from area code 501. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, good night, Jason. I'm Rex from Belize, Central America.
Okay, Rex from Belize. What's on your mind?
Yes, Jason. I was fortunate to be raised by God, the same type of man that you have been speaking about for the entire night of tonight. I was one of those guys who used to blame my father. Why is my father being so hard on me? Why? As a 10-year-old boy, my dad had me in the yard, Jason, 10 o'clock at night, and listen to my mom, Jason. Why are you having that boy so late in the yard, cutting the yard? And then listen to my father now. Shut up, woman. Let the boy finish his task, and he will not come up in this house until he has finished his task. Now, 10 years, 20 years later, as I reflect back, I'm like, thank God for that moment. That moment there, Jason, taught me that I must finish my task, you see.
That's the definition of competence.
Why was he so hard on me, Jason? But now I see.
Remember what I taught you all was the definition of competence. The definition of competence is not being all-knowing or whatever. The definition of competence is being able to finish what you have started. It does you no good if you have the smartest doctor, the smartest car mechanic, the smartest engineer in the world. If he never is able to finish what he starts, or if it takes him forever to finish it, then he's not competent.
Correct, Jay. Correct. And then another example that I saw from my father, I saw he picked up a popular mechanic station in the 1980s. And my father read an article about car batteries. And my father went to Mexico, did the research about car batteries, and he started a car battery industry in Central America. Now, just by observing that, Jason, nothing is impossible for me. Just by observing. He didn't have to tell me anything about, oh, son, you have to study this book. No. Just by observing him and his action, that taught me so much, Jason.
Putting pressure on your sons is essential because they need to be taught that they can handle anything that's thrown at them. The problem is the world's going to throw things at them their parents either didn't think of or not allowed to do. And then your sons are going to be out here not knowing, A, if they can handle it, and B, how to handle it. So you do your sons no favors by coddling them. I'll let you have the last word.
Correct. And then also, now, Jason, I have my son now. He's like 14. I'm 40 years old now. I run a DNA agency in the Caribbean now. And let me give you an example of how I started this DNA agency. I did my research. I saw that there were home paternity tests. And I said, I could do those home paternity tests and offer it to my customers here in the Caribbean. I did that for 3 years, Jason. And then look what happened afterwards. The DNA agency contacted me and they told me that they wanted me to become their main agency for the entire Caribbean. Some of my friends said, oh, you were lucky, Rex. You were lucky. I tell them, no, it wasn't luck. I did the hard work and they saw that, sales were increased. Oh, this guy, Rex, is bringing in sales for us. Oh, let us trust it. It wasn't like an overnight thing. It took me like 3 to 4 years, Jason. I was grinding, selling these paternity kits, Jason. And then afterwards, the head office contacted me and say, you know what, Rex, we want you to be our main guy in your country to do the DNA collection for us. And that's how I became.
It's been my experience that bad luck is something that happens to you. Quote unquote, good luck is something you make happen. It doesn't just happen to you.
Correct.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller Miracle 347. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller from 347. Put the pipe down. You're on live.
I ain't got the pipe on. Jason, what's good? This is Khalil Bey calling from New York City.
What's on your mind?
Queens, New York. Yeah, I wanted to say that I was posting about it on Facebook, and you had a lot of females running to the defense of Romeo. Talking about Master P may have not been there as a father. He may have been there financially and absent. They were talking a lot of nonsense, saying he ripped them off, and I had to explain them. I went through my childhood listening to Romeo. He was never talented. We were forced to listen to him because he was Master P's son. We had to watch him act. He couldn't act. And even after that, he could never make a way for himself. Then she went on to say that, he could have signed with another label, but his father wanted him to stay with him. I said he would have owed the label money.
Okay, well,
he would have never recouped.
P even talked about that. Lil Romeo said he wanted to go and do his own thing. He had people in his ear. He's never had anything stopping him from leaving. His father has never held nothing. He's had if Lil Romeo was really gonna pop like that on his own, he'd have been did it. Bro, we've been talking about him now for what, 20 years now? It doesn't take 20 years for you to take off like that if you're going to do it. He's had every opportunity, every chance, every advantage, every privilege. Dude, you're your father's son, and in the entertainment business, this is as far as you're ever going to go. We've already seen your best. We saw it. And you're trying to convince me there's a whole lot more. At all. And he's not a phenomenal talent. That's the problem. His father was a decent talent. Very good. I ain't gonna. Let me just stop. I'm going to tell y'all right now, for political purposes, I'm going to stop what I'm going to say right there. His father is a good talent. I'm going to stop what I'm saying right there because we don't want to get into a top 10. I'm going to stop what I'm saying right there for political purposes. But as far as like the chicks were saying, okay, dude, are you on crack tonight? Calm down. As far as the females you're referring to, they just jealous because they don't have their chance. What you're going to notice is females are on the internet. Females on the internet are a lot more forgiving and lenient of a male that they think they can take advantage of. The ones they don't think they can take advantage of, they rip them. The ones who have discipline and are not trying to please them, they rip them. The Derek Jacksons and the Little Romeos, they'll side with them. The Master P's, you're not eligible to get over on him, so let's go ahead and rip him. But if they think they can get over on you, if they think that you're in the position to get gotten over on, or you're just giving out free benefits, they're going to cheer for whatever dispenses free benefits. I'll let you have the last word.
And that's all I had to say. That's all I had to say.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Folks, if you hear me talking here, let me host my program. I know you're excited. I get it. Let me host my program, please. Thank you. Let me get call from area code 864. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This Tone from Fountain, South Carolina.
All right, Tone, what's on your mind?
Basically, man, for a long time, I hated my daddy. And now I feel like, as I became a man, I realized it was like stuff my mama was putting in my head. You know, it was always, well, your daddy didn't come through and pick you up. Your daddy ain't got no money. And then, you know, I just started hating my daddy for a long time until I became a man. And that's basically it.
You know, from a young age, you have to watch that kind of thing. Young men have to be careful. Coming out of the bastard baby maker generation, you have a bunch of females who they were never eligible to be wives. And it was only once they got older or once they decided to become mothers, then they decided, okay, let me go double back and see if I can become a wife. They now realize everything they lost out on. Now they realize all the goodies and all the benefits, all how much nicer it would have been. And now they can see what they lost out on. So then they make a very vindictive, very venomous calculation. If I'm going to suffer, then we're all going to suffer, even if I have to lie about it. Even if I have to be misleading,
right.
Whatever. I want your son to punish you for me. Because there's the real thing about it is your father probably didn't put himself into a position where she could punish him. And if he's not in a position where she can punish him, well, let me go ahead and see if I can get at you through your son. I mean, that's really how evil and venomous that the American feminist female culture is. It literally is weaponize your children shamelessly. And now you've got so many failed females out here. They've got whole groups on Facebook. Well, they will sit there and cheer each other on and egg each other on in slut culture, cheating, whorehouse culture, bastard baby making culture by multiple men. They'll sit there and egg each other on it. They don't tell each other what they need to do to get each other out of it. They sit there and egg each other on and say, yeah, you go, girl. Ride this rocket ship to hell. You go, girl. And if it turns out the guy is about something, or I shouldn't say about something, because about something is a relative term. But if it turns out that man's life got better afterward, because what she's hoping is, okay, if you don't do what I want you to do, they'll try to say it's do right by me, but if you don't do what I want you to do, well, then things ain't going to turn out a certain way. Okay, then he moves on, and next thing you know, things for him are still popping. Now it's like, okay, well, I'll be damned. She bet on the wrong horse, because here's the real issue. How many siblings did you have?
I have 2 brothers and 1 sister.
Okay.
I'm the middle son. My sister's the oldest.
Are they all about the same man?
No.
Strike 1.
My mom, my sister and brother have the same father. Then I have, my father. And then my younger brother has a different dad.
Okay, this ain't looking so great for mom. Let me tell you. Number two.
Oh yeah.
Number two. Now did you say you were the middle child or you were in the middle?
Yeah, I'm the middle son.
Okay. After your mother and your father split, the man she decided to get pregnant by after that, was he a step up or was he a step down?
Financially, probably a step up, but I mean, he didn't stick around. They wasn't together.
Then he wasn't a step up.
Yeah, true.
I mean, if all his resources do is go to benefit him, it ain't a step up. If he's like, yeah, I mean, I had a kid with you, but I don't really claim you like that. So, in other words, her lifestyle, it didn't matter where she went or what she did, her lifestyle didn't change.
No.
So she might have been able to find somebody who had a job with a pension and some benefits to wrap them legs around, but she wasn't able to elevate herself. Just understand, for a female, that wreaks hell and havoc on their psyche. That wreaks hell and havoc. Because by the time, once they get into their 30s, they realize that was the last train leaving. If she did get a chance to be with a dude who was doing better than your dad was, she understood that was the last train leaving. But just keeping it a bill, because I don't know what the fella did, and you're saying financially, but he wasn't balling out like that. He wasn't balling out. Yeah, I mean, but here's the real thing. Just think about this for a few moments. What's he going to do with a single mom with 3 kids by 2 different niggas? What's he going to do with that?
I mean, he had about 8 of his own kids.
Okay, so in other words, he didn't have nothing. So, did your dad have that many kids by that many different women?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, Mama was in them streets and in them slums, and I'm just saying, as a female, when you decide to have a baby. I've said this to you all before. When a female decides to have a baby with a man, just understand you are cashing in all your chips right there. You are literally saying, I am exiting the casino. This is the guy right here. This is it. This is the peak of my value, because you're never going to be as valuable as you were before you had kids. So when you go off and decide to sit up here and get kids with somebody, just understand it's all downhill from here. And you're telling the world, I'm cashing out, I'm cashing in all my chips on this guy. It better be the guy. This better be the guy. Because if he's not, if this isn't a home run, if this isn't a grand slam, you about to become a statistic.
And from the time I was like 21 years old, I had to hear it my whole life, because I believe she had, like you say, cash and all the chips on him, and he didn't stick around. So I had to hear it. Your daddy.
Well, she cashed out all her chips.
I really got tired of hearing it.
She cashed out all her chips on the first baby daddy. She didn't do any better with yours. And then she was down and out after that. And what I'm saying is, it's a sad story, but you have a culture today where females basically take themselves out of the game before they get started. And now they spend the rest of their lives bitter and angry. And she's going to be acting like they did something to her. She asked for it, begged for it, requested it, and she received what she asked for. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The only thing you can do is, and it sounds like a sad commentary, but real is real. You just got to learn from your mom's mistakes and be like, hey, I ain't repeating that. No, I saw that one right then. That wasn't the move. So let me do something different. Because the bottom line is she had her chance. If that was her taste in men, if she wanted males who move like that and operated like that, and she never saw herself as more valuable and never tried, she wanted to eat what she thought were going to be easy wins, and she found out there's no such thing as easy wins. You either step your game up and you get in position, or you get left behind. And it's really that simple. But what is a man making $80,000, $100,000 a year going to do with her? What's he going to do with that? you know. And if she was acting like that, she obviously had the attitude issues to go along with it. So there wasn't really anything to fight for. There wasn't anything to fight for or compete for. Now she's just going to be living a hard-ass lesson about it. Now all her kids are grown and gone. And she's sitting wherever she is by herself. And I guess she's just sending hate mail to herself, I suppose. I don't know. If she knows where your dad is, she might be sending him evil text messages or something. But the bottom line is, the worst part about it is, by the way, it didn't work. It's going to work for a little bit, but eventually your son's going to have a talk with your dad, and they're going to start comparing notes. And it's going to be like, I'll be damned. That is her. I'll be damned. That is her.
Oh, yeah, timeline.
It's like, son, you would have left too. It's like, okay, well, now that I'm getting the real about it, and hey, mama, I couldn't help but notice some of these dates were overlapping with some of these men. We ain't going to get grimy with it here, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay, Mom, I was going through the dates of my siblings when they were born, and the dates you said you was with these men. I couldn't help but notice there was some overlap. I couldn't help some of these dates was overlapping. So, yeah, baby, if she's sitting up here with one man and she getting pregnant by another or something like that, it's like, nah, dude's gonna bail. If she for the streets, if she for the block, and if everybody gets a turn, it's like, nah, worst thing you can do. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller Mary code 201. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Trina calling from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Trina from Fayetteville, what's on your mind?
Well, my story's a little bit different, Jason. Me and my husband, we were to move down south from New Jersey, and I was supposed to get the place first, and then he come 6 to 7 months later. I got the place, he never came. We have 5 children all together. All of them is his. We have 2 grown ones, and then we have some younger ones. We have 2 girls and a boy. The boy is the problem. He doesn't come and get his children. He didn't see his children for 3 years, all for him, due to him. Nothing about me, because I'm calling like, please get his kids, because we have one autistic child.
Slow down a moment. How many kids do you have?
We have 5.
Okay. All by the same man?
All by the husband. I've been with him since I was 14.
Okay. Mistake number 1. But you're probably figuring it out by now. And you were 14. How old was your husband when you were 14?
My husband was 17 at the time.
Okay. Your parents need their asses broken. Your parents...
we didn't have a children
our first kid until I was 17. Your parents do not need to have their asses beat. Your parents need to have their asses broken. Not beaten, broken. With 2x4, with 2x4s. I'm talking about smash their pelvic bones into pieces. There's literally no way that this turns out okay. What happens is a 17-year-old gets a hold of a 14-year-old. He is now 18. You're now 15. You get the point. He's 19. You're 16. Right. He's 20.
I got pregnant when I was 16.
Okay, stop talking over the host. You ain't that drunk. I know it's almost ready for New Year's. You ain't that drunk. He is 19, you are 16. He is 20, you are 17. He's 20 years old and you're not grown yet. Now, he's all flip-flopping your drawers all over the place and you're not grown yet. Now, the only thing that can make this stupid, even more stupid, is because this is usually the direction it goes in, is little dumbass gals start getting pregnant when they're 16.
I got pregnant at 16. Yeah, and I got pregnant at 16. We got an apartment.
The first of many. That's the problem. Because the only thing a 19-year-old has to give a 16-year-old is bedtime. He's not a producer. He doesn't even know what he wants to do with his life yet. What he does know is that he sure does dig having sexual access to you. What he has not demonstrated is that he wishes to do something that improves and benefits your life outside, separate and apart from sex. Now that he hasn't done yet, which he cannot do because he's only 19. This is the reason you do not let teenagers carouse with each other, because you have had no opportunity or chance, A, to judge his competence, B, to judge his maturity. He doesn't have any. He doesn't have any life experiences yet. So you don't know how he's going to respond to life experiences. He hasn't dealt with any. You sitting here on the job learning. You're about to find out if he has a strong character or if he has a weak one. You're about to find out if he's motivated to work 80 hours a week or if he's motivated to work 20 hours a week, puff, puff, pass. You're about to find that out. So what I'm saying is nobody gave him time to demonstrate his character, his competence, his drive, his innovation. He was never given time to do that. You're going to find out as you go. That's a hell of a gamble. Now, how old are you now?
I'm 49.
You're 49 and got complaints about one of the kids.
About the younger kids, because we have two grown ones, the 31-year-old and the 25. And then we have younger ones that I had my last child at 40. And this weekend we were moving down south and he never showed up. He came 3 years later. We have been separated now from each other for about 3 or 4 years. He tried to come 3 years later, but he was messing around with a woman up there. That's why he wouldn't come down south. So he got mad because I wouldn't accept him back.
Okay, slow down. So what you're saying is your husband is no longer your husband.
Right. We're still married but separated.
Wow, you are messy. You are messy.
I'm in Fayetteville. He in Jersey.
No, you are in the twilight zone. You are messy. I'm not even going to play about this.
Messy.
You're a messy ass heifer. You're still married. Why have you not divorced him?
I'm messy.
Why have you not divorced him?
How am I messy?
You're messy because you're okay, I'm going to say this one more time. Why have you not divorced him?
Because I don't have the money to divorce him. 1, 2, I asked him to divorce me. He will not help me get the paperwork or do anything.
Ma'am, you are 49 years old. You don't need nobody's permission to get divorced. People get divorced.
No, I asked him to pay for it.
You don't have to ask him to pay for it. You want to be divorced from him, do you not?
Yes.
Okay, then get off your lazy ass and go file for divorce. It doesn't cost $1 million to get a divorce. You're a liar. You're pathetic. It does not cost $1 million to get a divorce. You go, you give an attorney. You give the attorney a little old $1,500 retainer, and you get your divorce. Now, what does your boyfriend think of all this?
I don't have a boyfriend. I have an autistic child here that I don't let anybody around my daughter. She's nonverbal. I'm grown. I raised 2 successful boys that's grown. They have never been locked up.
But their mama is sitting up here being is a married woman still.
And I'm here by myself. I live by myself.
Okay, but ma'am, you can't sit up here and complain about your husband because you look real raggedy and tacky right now. If y'all are, if y'all are not getting back together, why have you not gone and gotten your divorce? That's raggedy, tacky, messy, slimy behavior.
How is I messy and slimy?
Because
I don't have a man.
If he is not your husband,
with a man in my house.
Ma'am, if he is not your husband, do not allow him to be going around claiming that you're his wife.
I don't have a man.
This is garbage. Ma'am, you have a husband.
That's in New Jersey.
Ma'am, we're not going to go. Ma'am, we're not going to go. Ma'am, we're not going to go around in circles about that. You are still legally married. Anything that the both of you do is adultery. Anything that the both of you do is adultery at best and polygamy at worst. This is a very.
I do not have a man, Jason.
Ma'am. This is
That's
a very.
What I'm trying to tell you. I live alone with my children.
Ma'am, do not talk over the host. This is a very childlike demeanor that you have. A very infantile, immature, childlike demeanor.
No,
if you are separated, you're supposed to be divorced. It's been 3 years. It only takes a year to get a divorce finalized.
Okay, so why he don't get a divorce?
He doesn't need to.
It doesn't matter.
It does not
matter.
Okay, ma'am. Last time, you're the one who moved out of state. He doesn't need to want a divorce.
I didn't.
It doesn't matter what. Okay, it doesn't matter if he wants a divorce.
You're not hearing this.
It doesn't matter if he wants a divorce or not. That's why he doesn't have to pay for it. It doesn't matter if he wants it. If you want the divorce, then you get the divorce. It doesn't matter what he wants. He's already taken up with another woman. Why are you playing around as if this man's going to come back? Get him off Get him off your taxes, titles, names, and anything else. File for divorce and get him the hell out of your hair. Because furthermore, you are a horrific example for your children. You're showing them that this is how grown people are supposed to be. You're 49. This woman is damn near 50 years old, showing her children that this is how adults are supposed to do things. You can be a married woman,
what are we doing?
And you're traipsing around the world as a married woman. That's the problem. That is messy as hell.
I'm not doing anything in the world. This is what I'm trying to tell you. I live alone. I'm living in the same place that I got for me and him.
You're still married.
And I'm married, yes, but I'm not. I don't have a man.
Okay.
I only live with this one man that I was married to.
No one is going to take you seriously, including your ex, including your husband. Ma'am, no one's going to take you seriously.
I want him to take care of his son.
No one is going to take you seriously, including your husband. You're a joke. So if you want people to start taking
How am I a joke?
If you want people to start taking you seriously, stop living your life like a raggedy ass joke.
How am I a joke? I don't live my life raggedy. My children are perfectly good, and I'm doing it by myself.
Okay, then go get a divorce. Go get a divorce attorney by yourself.
What a divorce got to do with him getting his children? That's what I'm calling about.
We cannot take you seriously.
To do with him getting his son?
Ma'am, we cannot take your infantile, childish demeanor seriously.
No, it's not infantile. You're being infantile right now, Jason, because you're not hearing the story.
Ma'am, you're barely. It sounds like I'm on the phone with Mrs. Mike. This sounds like I'm on the phone with Mrs. Mike Tyson. You're the last person who want to talk about that, ma'am. Don't try that. This is comedy.
How am I wrong, Jason? How's the woman wrong? And the man left me and abandoned me and these children. And I'm wrong,
ma'am. If you're this childish, if you're this childish and infantile, every man is going to leave.
I'm not childish at all. My children are well behaved and.
Ma'am, there's no way no man is going to take you seriously. No man is.
I don't care if no man take me seriously. I'm not looking for a man right now. I'm looking for my husband. My husband who's not here to take care of his children. Okay. That's what I called you about.
And that's what I called you about. And that is why he's doing. That's why, yes, ma'am. Yes, I am. I'm blaming you because you're a raggedy mess.
No, you like to blame the women all the time.
You want your husband to be. Your husband is a raggedy mess, and so are you. And you want me to act as if you're better than him. No, you're both pieces of trash.
I didn't ask you about anything. I was calling you about advice of him not seeing his children for 3 years.
My advice to you is before you curl your lips to try
to taking care of his children.
What I'm going to say to you is before you curl your Cruella de Vil shaped lips to try to criticize your husband, get your own house in order. You are ridiculous. So before you think you're going to demonize him or the rest of the world, get your own house in order. You're talking about what he's not doing for his kids. Meanwhile, you're still married to him. So he can't be that bad of a guy because you refuse to go and get a divorce. So clearly he's not that bad of a person. Now, is he?
And He will not get his children because I won't deal with him.
By the way, I muted her and she was talking the entire time, by the way. So when I told y'all she was silly, y'all can tell she's throwed off and you can definitely tell she's imbalanced. But this is what happens, fellas, when y'all go off and go get these kids by the little throwed off chick because your life isn't together. So she's emotionally and mentally imbalanced and she's going through things, or she's bipolar or something, and she talks with a real childlike, tempo and structure to her words, and you like, hey, this will be an easy one. Well, yeah, it'll be an easy one, and then your life gets screwed up. Now you in your 50s, and this chick has got you over a barrel. Because the reason she doesn't want to get a divorce is because having the children gives her power. That's the reason she doesn't want a divorce. She doesn't want a divorce because she's holding the kids over his head. So he's moved on and laying up with everything in New Jersey. She's stuck down in little old Fayetteville, creeping along. And he's just like, hey, you go handle that. By the way, she's still sitting over there talking to herself.
Brave woman, trust me, I don't hold no kids. I never put this man on no child support, no nothing. I don't hold no.
Yeah, she sounds like a female Waldo Faldo, she's like a female Waldo Faldo.
Send you text and show you what's going on between me and this man. And then when I do send it to you.
Yeah, she said she was 14 years old when she got pregnant, and mentally and emotionally, she has not progressed beyond that. She doesn't sound like a 14-year-old. She sounds like an improperly educated 10-year-old.
Other son is a manager at the place he work at. Ain't nothing mental about me. Nothing at all. My children are perfectly well.
You blaming the woman. Get off my phone.
No problem, because you blame women. You got women.
I said get off my phone. Some of you fellas out there, your life never got together. Your life never got right. You never got your paper straight. You grabbed some little old throwed off chick and you were like, you thought you were winning because you were in high school and you was just happy to have something naked to lay up with. And now that's it. But she got you over a barrel. That's why she doesn't want to sit up here and she doesn't want to sit up here and get a divorce now, because she wants to have him over a barrel. And now she thinks she got it. So she's 50, damn near 50 years old now. Look at the way she's behaving. This isn't even mature. She behaves with the maturity of an 8-year-old. So you can tell she's kind of developmentally challenged. She's a touch slow. You can see she's a touch slow. And there's dudes out here, well, a win's a win. No, fellas, a win is not always a win. A win is not always a win. A win's a win. No, actually, it isn't always a win. No, it isn't. Because you know what? Her little daffy ass figured out. Her little daffy ass done figured out how to run off with the kids and have you over a barrel. So think about that for a moment. Her little daffy ass figured that out, didn't she? She figured that out. She figured that out quick. Don't ever think that these chicks are so throwed off that they're not going to be able to figure out how to have you over a barrel and have you helpless and prostrate. Don't ever fool yourself into believing that's going to be the case. She's like, oh, I got you. Oh, I got you. I got you. She knows what he's up to. He with another woman and they laying up and things. Okay, well, give him his divorce. No, I gotta hold him over this barrel right quick. Get these benefits, get this in. What's she doing in Fayetteville? Because Fayetteville has a base. The only thing that Fayetteville has is a military base. That's the only thing Fayetteville has is a military base. So most likely he went in the military. I didn't have to keep her on the phone for that. She's in Fayetteville. Only thing Fayetteville has is, was that Fort Bragg? That's the only thing Fayetteville has. Fayetteville doesn't have anything else. So if she's in Fayetteville, then husband's in the military. She don't want to let that go. So she would just rather let him do his thing and dip and dab. And she's hanging on the outside because she doesn't have the ability to press for anything more. He done picked up and went off with somebody else. He doesn't come see the kids. You're a messy chick. Well, what's there to come see? You need to go ahead and divorce him and let the kids see what the hell it really is. Instead of sitting up here pretending that you're still with him. Fellas, you better watch yourselves. I started off the program talking about that. Fellas, watch who you having kids with. If that chick is not wife material, how in the hell did you decide she's mother material? If that chick is not wife material, what in the hell makes you think she's mother material? Y'all are giving leverage over your lives to females that you're walking in the door and you've already disqualified her from being wife material. You've already disqualified her. If she's not good enough to marry, she's damn sure not good enough to carry. If she's not good enough to marry your legacy, she's damn sure not good enough to carry your legacy. DeAndre, that's what I meant. She's imbalanced. And at first she's saying that there's a problem with the kids, then she's saying the kids are perfectly fine. Clearly it's not. Clearly it's not. And furthermore, he doesn't come to see his kids at this. First of all, you got 2 grown children. First of all, 2 of the kids are grown. So what does that tell y'all? That tells you that she went back later because she's 49 now. That means over a 30-year span. 30 years. 30 years. And before it was over, she went back to have some more kids. That's not a woman trying to get away from a dude. That's a woman trying to lock one down. She's 50 years old and still got small kids. That means that in her 40s, she was still trying to make it pop. She knew that was the last train leaving. I'm like, okay, well, that's your husband, literally. You were holding on to him till the last damn second. That's your husband. And if you won't divorce him, there's something back there you miss. Very much. Very much. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I wasn't even going to come on tonight, but I just got to thinking about this whole situation. I got to thinking about how it went down. I got to mulling it over, and it really just kind of stuck with me. It really just kind of stuck with me what was going on there. So I just decided I wanted to go ahead and get that off my chest. So we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. The Last Train Leaving. You all have seen an excerpt from it. You've been waiting a year for it. The Last Train Leaving is available exclusively on my Patreon. The whole program has been uploaded over there. It was eye-opening to say the least. You want to check in with the guests there. You want to hear their stories, a cautionary tale for every female to be sure. The 63-year-old who said that she's looking for a man between the ages of 70 and 75 who is willing to wait until marriage for sex. She didn't just miss the last train. She just standing at the station now just doing cartwheels pretending there's one coming. 63, but she is still waiting for her 75-year-old who doesn't want any sex. So y'all only heard part of it. Plus, there was a bonus call that you all have not heard. I'm going to see about getting that uploaded for this weekend, probably. There was a bonus call you all have not heard, one I didn't get to air. So you definitely want to check into that. You ain't heard nothing yet. So like I say, folks, there's a lot to learn, particularly for the ladies. So go ahead and check that out. If you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that all of your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. All of them are still in the vernacular. Everybody from Pearly Things to you name it. Yeah, I know. They're all taking the vernacular. They'll mention everybody except me. Yeah, because I'm the only guy who's going to say, hey, you haven't even learned it right. But in any case, another day in the park, y'all. Another day in the park. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. And if you haven't been to our Patreon, you want to go ahead and sign up for that. The link is in the description. We'll be doing that here tomorrow, 12 noon Central Time. And this concludes this broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.